Hi there! So as I said I would, I'm filming this on the same day that I filmed my previous video, simply because today is the day off work and I've got lots of time to do stuff. So this video will be talking about 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. For me, this book really came into its own in the last 100 pages. Up until that point, I wasn't really feeling the book, I didn't really enjoy it. And that's for reasons that I'll go on to later in the video, but the last 100 pages I kind of felt everything suddenly came together, and for me anyway, everything suddenly made sense, and I realised what the book was trying to do, and I suddenly got into it, and I think I read those last 100 pages a lot quicker than I'd managed to read the first part of the book. The story is basically the history of a family and a town, and it's full of a lot of misfortune, a lot of stuff happens, a lot of stuff goes wrong, there's lots of fighting, there's lots of illegitimate children, there's the mother who I think lives to I feel like it's something like nearly 200, a very, very old age. There's lots of stuff going on, and I felt a lot of it was actually a comment of nature versus nurture, because a lot of the things that were happening in old generations of the family were repeating in later generations, and it's kind of that idea of, are these traits inherent in this family, or is it to do with the way they're brought up? Some of the children that exhibited these traits weren't fully from that family, some were illegitimate children, some were adopted children, I believe. So yeah, you've got all these kind of things going on, so I think that's quite an interesting thing to consider. On a very personal note, I found it a very confusing book to read, because a lot of the family members had very, very similar names, or even the same names, just in different orders, or that kind of stuff. And I know it's quite common, especially in larger families and families like these, that happens, but I found it very, very confusing. I found it very hard to read. Luckily there was a family tree at the beginning of the book. I did have to refer to that family tree the entire way through the novel, because I found it very, very confusing. And like I said, that's just a personal thing. I know other people I know that read the book really didn't find that as much of an issue as I did. Yeah, just that really kind of knocked the book for me a little bit. On the other hand, what I found really interesting was the way that the time throughout the novel wasn't linear. So, it didn't run from the beginning of the family's history down to the end. There were lots of jumps between different parts, and I felt at times there were almost like fractures in time where parts of history overlapped each other, and that, I think, didn't help with the names being so similar. So when they'd be talking about something that happened 50 years ago, but that person had almost exactly the same name as the person 50 years later who was doing something very similar but not quite the same. It was really interesting, and it was done very well, and it was done for a really good reason, but it all kind of, I don't know, just mushed up in my head. But this whole idea of non-linear time is very much kind of taking the book's theme that everything is very cyclical. I'm not sure if I said that right. I'm going to go with it. Just going to roll with it. Yeah, so everything kind of comes back on each other. So there's the father at the beginning of the book and one of the sons at the end of the book, and they kind of end up talking to the same gypsy man. Well, I think he's actually dead by the end of the book. Yeah, he's dead by the end of the book, and this dude can talk to him even though he's dead. I don't know. It's very... yeah, sort of. It's not a fantasy book at all. I don't know why I was going to say that. It's really not. It's this kind of magical realism, I guess. But it's all about destiny and the idea that some things are inevitable and some things will have to be resolved. So yeah, in that sense, it's a very interesting book, and I did enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, the sentences as well were often very, very long. That obviously links back into the idea that time can be running away with us, that it's very broken, that it's not as straight as we would like it to be. And I do find that really interesting, but just personally, this wasn't one of my favourite books. I struggled to get into it. I struggled with the name issues. But yeah, I mean, I would say read it, but maybe do a little bit of research about it. Maybe, you know, maybe read a very kind of brief idea of the plot before you commit to reading the whole book, just in case, a bit like me, you get quite confused easily. That probably would have helped me. That would have helped me an awful lot, actually, looking back on it, but too late now. Okay, well, that's it for this video. I will see you all soon. Bye!